Alright everyone, this is Bob, and I'm gonna give something a little different a try here. Gonna try to record a quick draft on Zendikar Rising. I figured I'd do a quick draft because it gives me a little more time to look at the cards and I can talk about them a little bit. And even though we're not drafting against people, it's still a decent way to draft. And it's also a little cheaper than a full draft, so. Alright, we'll use some gold here because I always want to try to convert gold into gems. And right off the bat, I mean, Morag, you can get him out, he just wins you games. So I could take that and start to go straight for a landfall theme. A couple of landfall things down there that could be useful. I might come back around. Not seeing much else exciting. I mean, here he's binding's good removal, but white's not that strong in this set. Bubble Snare is also good removal, but I mean, I don't think I can take that over Morag. So we'll just take that there. We're looking towards red and possibly green. Some more landfall stuff here. Both of those are decent. Landfall Enabler. Kite Sail is good if we're going to go with big creatures because we can get them flying and get over. Thundering Rebuke is just solid piece of removal. So let's stay on like a landfall train. Let's hope we try to get some ramp. And I don't think this is really adding a second color per se because Morag's really pushing us into red green right off the bat. He might as well be a gold card. So we'll take the Canopy because it's pretty strong, and we'll pair well with Morag if we, every time we play a land, we get more attacks and the guys get bigger. So Lithoforming is not really a good card, but it could enable landfall shenanigans. Cleansing Wildfire could enable landfall shenanigans because you target your own land. The reason why I would prefer Cleansing over that is Cleansing is a guaranteed land that you could potentially not draw any lands, but neither one of those is all that great. Visionary is just a solid creature, and it cantrips, it replaces itself, and Nectarpods, another landfall, slows the game up a little bit. I might take that, and the curve's already starting pretty high. It's a nice low drop, and every time I play a land, it will give me a little life and just kind of clog up the board a little bit until I can get some big stuff out. I mean, got 3 alternate arts now. Might as well just go for the 4th. Taunting Arbor Mage. I mean, Taunting Arbor Mage, you kick it, you make stuff block one thing and just come in with everything, but Hellhound just continues the landfall theme. Let's see. No green here. We might even cut on green. Be good if we were in Warriors. Sizzling Barrage is bad removal, and is removal though. Inordinate Rage is just a solid combat trick, and it scries, and probably will take that. Well, Saddleback continues landfall theme, but it's pretty high cost. Adventure awaits, guarantees I can get a creature. If I don't get a creature, then I at least get a card draw. And I'm probably going to take the Fortification because you don't want to pass up these dual face cards. It allows me to run a higher land count without risking getting flooded because I can always cast it as the spell. If I get any of the landfall enablers, it lets me bounce lands. If I played it as land, I can bounce it and then get a combat trick out of it. So I mean, it's not the best of the dual face cards, but there's really nothing else in this pack that I'm all that excited about. So take that. Another Hellhound's not super exciting because we're going for like more for the big guys. Relic Axe, not super exciting. It's probably going to be the Kite Sail, because again, if I can get the Kite Sail on like Morag, and he just can keep attacking in the air, it could be useful. Let's see, Pyroclastic it's a big creature, will bounce a land, get me a landfall trigger, it deals damage. I'm not going on the party train, and none of the rest of that's useful for me. Ambusher's a nice mana sink for later in the game. Nectopod we already got one of. I've explained that it's useful clogging up the board. I think it's going to be Scale the Heights, because it's basically green the card. Does a couple things, puts a counter on something, gains you a little life, lets you play an extra card, extra land card if you're have 2 lands in your hand, and it also replaces itself, so it's a solid pickup. A whole bunch of black that we can't use. We can get another Kite Sail or a Skyclave Sentinel. Probably could pick up another Kite Sail later. I'm tempted to take a Sentinel. It clogs up the board early. It flies, so it can block flyers, which we're going to have trouble with. And if I get it later, then I'll have the mana to kick it. And it can be a big body in the air, so I'll take that. I've got Cleansing Wildfire or Blade. I'll take the Wildfire because it just gets me another landfall trigger. It replaces itself. So Broken Wings, I'll just take that as a sideboard card. Sizzling Barrage, I'm going to put that in the sideboard. I don't really want to run that. Adventure Waits, that's fine. Well, that's pretty good to pull. So, it's removal. It can be a land. It's pretty good. Let's just see what else before we snap pick that. There's only 1 green card in the pack. It's an okay wad. That's more for the kicker deck, though. The Rebel Forts, not that great. It could be useful in this deck because we got a lot of bigger stuff and it clogs up the board early. But I certainly don't want to take that over Shatter Skull. And Champion, don't really have any warriors. Nothing else is really all that great, so I'll take the Shatter Skull. Let's see. Royal Eruption, solid piece removal, probably one of the best commons in the set. It's your Searing Spear, your Lightning Strike type cards, but then later in the game, when you got extra mana, you can do a little bit more with it. Other cards in the pack that are useful in our colors, another Nectopod. Colony's good. Again, you kick it, it gets bigger. Not a lot of stuff in our colors. If we were in black, Feed the Swarm's pretty good. If we were in white. But yeah, it's got to be the Royal Eruption. Champions, not for us. Another big body that gains us life. 1/1 Death Touch. Always useful, good for early on. Clogs up the board. Another Fortification, and that's a card for the kicker deck. So if it wasn't for the Blight Blade, I would take the Fortification, but I'll take that. Let's see. Well, this is like the big landfall enabler. And it's in white, unfortunately. I mean, I could take it and try to snag some dual-face white cards and splash it. Scorch Rider's okay, Fissure Wizard's okay, but I mean, the Recovery Sanctuary, get a card back from the graveyard, or it can be a land. It's probably the right pick. That's probably the pick, but I still think I'm going to take the Root Grazer. I'm going to put it in the sideboard. I'm going to see if I can get anything to splash. I mean, I'm in green. Green's good for mana fixing. So, and the payoff is pretty high, so I'm going to give it a risk. Let's see. Rosa. I mean, I could take second Cleansing Wildfire. Cleansing Wildfire, actually, it's fixing in this case because I can destroy one of my own lands and get a plains out. So I guess red's got a little bit of fixing in this. I never really thought about that. So I think since I have that card to splash, I'm going to take the Wildfire. Maybe if I came across another Feldar, I'd splash it, but it's not worth it right now. So yeah, I'm taking Cleansing. Let's see. Another Death Toucher. Looks to be the way to go here. Rumbleport. Tormenting Voice. Tormenting Voice is decent. Like the thing that would be useful with that is if I get stuck with that white splash, I can always ditch it to get something else. But those come around pretty often. I think I'd rather the creature. Green the card. I think that's the pick. Does a bunch of stuff we want. Not super exciting, but better than most of the other stuff in the pack. Another Wildfire. I don't think I want to go for 3 of them. Spare Supplies is okay. I think the Snarecast would be useful just to have a little bit of reach, a little bit of protection from flyers. Rebel Fort, Might, or Spare Supplies. What's our creature count looking like? We got a lot more non-creatures than creatures. So I don't think I want to take the Spare Supplies. I'm going to take the Rebel Fort. It's not exciting, but you know, we're playing one of the decks that could use it, potentially. Ambusher is fine. It's a 2-drop. It's a mana sink later. There's basically nothing in this pack for us. If I go on a white splash, Smite might be useful. Beyond that, yeah, nothing else. Scorch Rider is fine. Nothing here for us. And another Rebel Fort. Well, you know, that's 3 packs and 3 mythics. Now, we're not in black, but Academ's Awakening is a good card. I could use that in some constructed stuff later. I mean, what will we be passing up? Rockslide Sorcerer. I'm not in the Wizards deck. That's a really good piece of removal though for us. Rabid Bite. So yeah, okay, so here's the thing. If I was playing this just as solid draft, I'd take the Rabid Bite, but I need the Agademes for other stuff, so let's see here. Royal Eruption, it's good. Nectarpod, not really. Jorga, you know, is okay. Spring Mantle is gonna only really ever be 4 or 5. Maybe I'd get some white and it'd be bigger. Song Mad's pretty good, especially in a deck like this because it's an extra land. I can steal something with it and swing. If I can take something and then Morag and then hit with it more than once, it's really useful. And I normally would take that, but the Royal Eruption I think wins out on that. And I mean, I could be overvaluing Royal Eruption, but it's one of my favorite commons in the set. So this pack's pretty bad for. Well, there's the Ambush. I mean, I passed up 1 fight card earlier, so I can take this. Whereas the other one's a one-sided fight. This is actually a fight, so I could potentially lose my creature with it, but it can also be a land. It's probably the best thing for us to take. Hellhound's not that useful. I mean, I already have 1, and this is really not a fast deck. Brute's just a 3/3 for 3. He's just board filler, and you know we already got the Ambusher, so take that. Okay, so I mean that's a good finisher because we could get a big guy out, hit them, and then fling it. It's also a land. What would we be passing up? We took it. Don't really care for a second Hellion. Dauntless Survivor's just kind of filler. Brute's just filler. Don't need another Kite Sail. I don't think. Well, I could take a second Kite Sail, but I don't think I want to take it over the Fury. So Let's see. Taunting's okay. If we kick it, we could make them blocks like our Death Toucher and then swing in with everything else. Ambusher, we've gone through a couple times. We've gone through that a couple times. That the stonework may be useful, like, because he can fix. He's bad fixing, but he can fix. But I'm also not really on a party theme. I don't think I have anything that cares about creature type at all. So I think I'm going to skip that. I think I'm going to take the taunting. My 3-drop spot's pretty full. It might be better to take the visionary. No, the taunting can just end games though. I really don't want to throw him out early. Now that's something that we want. Sacrifice a land, search for 2 basic lands. So you can play a land and then cast that, and then get 2 more lands. They come into play. They come into play tapped, but they create more landfall triggers. So you can get 3 landfall triggers in a turn. Plus, it's also good fixing. It'll allow me to splash that white card. I'd be passing up. The guide's not great. The Lagak could be useful, but it's not really where we want to be. The Brute's just filler, and again, I want to pick up another one of these, but this is a prime uncommon for what we're trying to do here. Let's see. Well, everything green is on the bottom. We got a reach. We got not in party, and this lets me search. So this is fixing. You put them into your hand, but they're guaranteed landfall triggers. You can cast it early to get something you need. Cast it later to get 2 for 1. So it seems to be the way to go there. Tormenting Voice went through. Venture Awaits gets me a creature. I already have one. I don't think I want a second one. And Ascetic. Actually, I'm thinking to take that. I didn't get as many like super big creatures as I was expecting. So that can swing stuff later in the game. An extra 3 points of life is useful, and it is a 5/4 for 5. So I think I'll take that. All right. I got 2 Rebel Forts. I don't want a third one, but I don't have really anything that this triggers off of. I got a rogue, 2 rogues. Elf later on. Cleric, warrior. Yeah, I mean, I could take him. Worst case, like, it's a 3/2 for 3, and it generates 1 point of mana when it comes in because it counts the wizard that it in itself is. So, like, say I have 4 mana, I could cast it and then get an extra mana and use those 2 points of mana to, like, Royal Eruption, cast something small, maybe a Cleansing. I mean, it's between that, definitely not another Rebel Fort. In fact, I don't even think the 2 I'm going to have make my cut, and I'm not sure I'd want another Skyclave. So, yeah, it's not super exciting. Probably won't make the cut. Spring Mantle might be a little bit better now that I'm kind of sure I'm going to splash white. Tormenting Pod. Again, I think I need, yeah, I think I am going to take that now. It's a little bit better now. So 1 card in there we can use. Okay, so I got that kite, so, like, there we go. I paid off. It's better than Utility Knife, and can't use the blue card, so. Another Ambusher. We got a lot of cuts here to make. And we got a Spitfire at the end, so it's pretty decent. So we got a lot of stuff to cut. 13 cuts we're looking at here. So probably cut some of the non-creatures first. We really want to have some creatures for a deck like this. I say that, but I'm going to cut that Hound. Fortifications. And we'll also be able to cut some lands here because I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 flip cards. So my rule of thumb is 2 of those could be counted as a basic land. So I could potentially cut 2 basic lands from this. It's only giving me 15 basics, but then, I got 19 mana sources total. So that's a possibility. Really do have to squeeze this guy in. I'll have to figure out my mana for that. Let's see here. Don't need all those ambushers. Don't need the rebel fort. Really hate cutting creatures, but some of these creatures are just not all that great. I think I'm just going with 1 scale of heights. I can probably cut an adventure awaits. I mean, it is card draw, but it seems like we're going to be running less creatures than I would have initially gone for. Still probably want to cut some non-creatures here. Maybe cut one of the cleansings. I mean, I got Reclaim and I got the Regrowth, so that's a little less necessary for fixing. Really don't want to cut any of these. I'd much rather. I mean, Fortification in a normal deck, I probably wouldn't be running that, but want that land. The rest of those are all good. Let's see. I might as well take 1 land cut, so that's given us 15 basics. I'll have 8 red, 8 green sources, 2 white sources or 3 white sources, but then also Reclaim the Wastes, Cleansing Wildfire, and the Regrowth for fixing. So that's the mana base is solid. I just need to make another 6 cuts here. Cut Teeter Peak. I think I'll cut one of the Kite Sails. Cut the Sentinel. What's that putting us at? Still would like to cut 2 non-creatures, preferably. Cut the Inordinate Rage. And I'm going to cut the Electromancer. He's just really not doing much for us. Still at 41. Still at 41. Guess I'll cut that other cleansing. Don't think I'm gonna need it. If I find I'm getting stuck with that white card in my hand, then maybe I'll put it back. But I got 2 pieces of fixing now, so in green, so that's good. Let's just make sure. We're a little heavier on green than red, so maybe we'll add a forest, cut a mountain, and should we put some fancy lands in? Let's put some fancy lands in. Let's see what's a good mountain here to use. Some full arts. Five of those. Four of those. And 7 of those, because math. I don't have the planes from the unset. There it is. We'll use that one instead. It's all uncards. So there we go. We got 40 cards. It's a deck. Give me a final look here at the deck, and see how that goes.